Welcome to Game Fondue Reviews. In this video we're going to take a look at Amun-Re. Amun-Re is a deeper auction-style board game designed by Reiner Knizia in which players are basically purchasing different regions in Egypt and building up their empire. Let's jump right in with a brief description of the rules, some example turns being played, and then I'll be back to finish with some closing remarks. This is Amun-Re set up for 3 players. To set up, you give each player a builder card, a -3 card, and then 20 money. And this forms their hand. It's shown face up here just to make it a little easier to see, but in reality, you can keep it secret from the other players. The rest of the money is kept in the bank. The power cards are shuffled and form a stack. The province cards are shuffled and form a stack, and then the farmers and pyramids and building stones are just kind of in a pool over there. Each player gets 3 province markers that they're going to use to indicate which provinces belong to them, and then 2 just kind of little markers, one of which they're going to use to bid and the other goes on the scoring track. The Amun-Re marker goes on this temple track here, and it's going to mark where Amun-Re stands along here. And lastly, whoever's going to be the start player gets the Pharaoh token. The game is broken into 2 parts, the Old Kingdom and the New Kingdom, and each part consists of 3 rounds, and each round has 6 phases. The first phase of which is to place the province cards. So you're going to flip the same number of province cards as there are players, and you're going to put them where they go. So we got Edfu, Dakhla, and Memphis. And each of these places happens to have some free stuff. Different provinces on the board in these boxes give free items. The second phase of the turn is essentially the bidding phase. So whoever's the start player is going to go first and is going to bid on one of these places. I'm not going to think about it, but let's say black wants to bid 3 on Memphis, and red decides he really wants Dakhla. He's going to bid 1 there. And then white decides, no, Memphis is mine, so he bids 6. It's come back to black now, and he's been outbid, so he has to move to another area. He's either going to move to Dakhla or Edfu. He cannot stay on Memphis. He's just going to take Edfu for 0. So now it's red's turn, but because at the beginning of red's turn, every player owns a different province or has the highest bid on that province, they're going to get the corresponding province. So they would mark it. So black would be marked here, and he would take that power card to his hand. We just discard the province cards, and same for each of these. The next part of the turn is the action phase, or the part of the turn where you're just going to be buying things. And the way you're going to buy things is you have to do it in order, and it's in turn order again. It's power cards first, and then farmers, and then building stones. Black would go first, and black is limited in power cards by the number on your space. So the most power cards black can buy, there's no hand limit, but there's a buy limit, is 1. Red would be 2, and over here in Memphis would be 3 for white. And the cost is in this table here. 1 costs 1, 2 costs 3, 3 costs 6, and so on. It only goes up to 7, but you can certainly buy more than 7 by following the same pattern. So if black decides he wants to buy a power card, he's limited to 1. Any farmers you want to buy immediately have to go in your areas. So black could buy up to 3 farmers because he has space for 3 farmers. White could buy up to 3 farmers. But red, he can't buy any farmers. There's no fertile lands here in Dakhla. And last is building stones, and they have to go in there right away as well. White already has 2, and when you get the 3rd, you just take them off the board and replace them with a pyramid. The 4th phase of the turn is the sacrifice for Amun-Re. And at this time, all players are going to simultaneously put face down how much money they're going to offer to Amun-Re. And then everybody flips it up. And depending on the total amount offered by the group, this token is going to move along the temple track here. So if it's 2 or less, 3 to 12, 13 to 22, or 23 or more money, it's going to move accordingly. Whoever offered the highest amount of money gets any 3 items of their choice. In this area, you're not limited by your buy limit. So if black offered the most, he could take 3 power cards, even though his buy limit is usually only 1. The player who offered the second most gets 2 items, and any other player who offered anything besides the -3, if you offer the -3, you get nothing, gets 1 item. Also, the player who offered the highest amount becomes the new start player, and anybody who bid the -3 gets it back along with 3 money. Anyone else loses their offer. It's now in Amun-Re's hands. So the last part of most turns is the harvest. And the location of Amun-Re on this temple track is going to dictate how much you're going to generate at the harvest. So wherever he is along this track, you get that many per farmer in each of your provinces. Right now you only have 1 province, but later you're going to have 2 and then 3. So each farmer in your province right now would give 2 money. If it's here 1, here 3, and here 4. So that's why you would want to manipulate the location. And then the next thing you get is the further income. And further income is just income you get based on the region you own. So for example, if you earn Berniki, you always get 8 money, and Abu always gets 4 money. Sau, Avaris, and Karga get money only if Amun-Re is on a camel space of the temple track. You'll see there's a camel here, and these two have no camels. So if he's on the 1 or 2 space, they're going to get that corresponding number of money. Now, after turns 3 and 6, there is a scoring phase. And scoring phase, the way it works is each pyramid is worth 1 point. Each set of pyramids, that's worth 3 points. So White would have got 1, 2, 3 points for the pyramids, and then 3 more points for a set of pyramids. The area on the east and west of the Nile with the most pyramids gets 5 points. Also, each temple in a province scores points based on where Amun-Re is on the temple track. So right now he's on the 2 space. So each temple, here's one in Edfu, is worth 2. At the end of the game, only after the New Age, gold also scores points. Whoever has the most gold gets 6 points. Second place gets 4, and third place gets 2 points. After the round ends, you remove all the province markers from the board. Nobody now owns these places. The province cards that were used in that kingdom are reshuffled to make this deck for the next round. If a province card didn't come up in the old round, it's not in the game for the new round. All the farmers are also removed from the board. They've moved on to bigger and better things, but the pyramids and building stones do stay out there. We're looking at a couple power cards. I want to go over some generic things before we get into the specifics of each card. Firstly, power cards can only be used in a specified phase, and they are color-coded to help indicate that phase. Also, you can discard a card at any time without using it to take 1 gold from the bank. So we'll look at these two. These are your phase 2. This is the bidding phase power cards. This one prevents a player from bidding 1 over you. They have to bid at least 2 over you. And this one allows you to bid on the same place that you've already been outbid on instead of having to move to another. The 2 phase power cards are unique in that if you move to a different location, they will move with you. The phase 3s are white in color. And this builder card, which you actually start with 1, allows you to build a pyramid for 2 building stones instead of 3. And this free farmer basically just allows you to take a farmer and lay him in this region of your area. So he does not go in the part with the blocks laid out for farmers. He's just an extra farmer that is farming in the desert. The next one is this sacrifice correction card, which is done in phase 4. It's the only one, so it's the only blue one. And it allows you to alter the total offering by 3, plus or minus. It does not affect how much you offered, so it won't be included as a factor in how many rewards you're going to get, but you can manipulate it a little bit just the same. And next are the harvest cards, which are green, and you play these in one of the provinces. It doesn't apply to all of them. So if you play this one, instead of whatever that was going to yield from farmers and income, you get 8 money instead. And this one you play in a region where each of those farmers will give you 1 extra money. And lastly, there are scoring cards, which are gray. There's 5 of them. I'm going to do 3 and then 2. This one you get, each of them is worth 3 points, which shows down here at the bottom. But at this one, if you have 9 farmers, you get 3 extra points. And this is if you have 7 power cards in your regions. That counts the buy limit cards and the free cards in the box. And this one is if all of your cities or provinces border the Nile or don't border the Nile, you get 3 points. Lastly is the regions of the map. If all of your provinces are in the same region, you get 3 points. If all of your areas are on one side of the Nile, you get 3 points. Let's get cracking with our playthrough. So in the first phase, the province phase, we flip 1 province for each number of players, which is 3. So we got Memphis, Buto, and Amun-Re. Memphis comes with 2 free building stones. Buto comes with a free power card. And Amun-Re actually comes with nothing. There's nothing in the boxes, so nothing goes there. So let's begin the bidding phase. It starts with Black because he has the start player token. So Black is going to bid 3 on Memphis. Red decides to bid 0 on Buto. And White really wants Memphis, so he's going to bid 6. It's now Black's turn, but he's been outbid, so he has to move to Buto or Amun-Re. And he's going to go to Buto. Red really doesn't want to spend any money right now, so he's going to take Amun-Re for free. So white gets Memphis, but it costs him 6. And black gets Buto for 1. And red gets Amun-Re for absolutely nothing. So now it's the buy phase, or action phase. And black is the start player, so black's going to go first. Black actually cannot buy any power cards because Buto's buy limit is 0. But he's going to buy a bunch of farmers. He decides he's going to buy 4 farmers for 10 money. So he takes them and places them in the corresponding spots of his board. And then is he going to buy any building stones? Yes, indeed he is. He is going to buy 3, which is essentially the same thing as buying a pyramid. Now last is white. White already has 2 building stones, so white is going to play his builder card before doing anything else to turn 2 stones into a pyramid. Now white has played the builder card. Even if white had another builder card, you're limited to 1 of each card per phase. So buying cards, white's allowed to buy up to 3, but white says, you know what? I only want 2. So white's going to buy 2 power cards. Farmers, white would like 1 farmer. And building stones, white's pretty happy with where he is, so he's not going to take any building stones. The next part of the turn is the sacrifice. So everybody's going to put face down what they want their sacrifice to be. So they each have their cards face down. We flip them all at the same time. So the total is 5 plus 5 is 10, minus 3 is 7. So the temple would be here. Now whoever played the most gets to take 3 items, but since they played the same number, it's broken in favor of where you are along the turn track. So red's turn comes before white, so red actually gets 3 free items, and then white gets 2 items for being second. He's going to take 2 building stones, although you don't have to take all of the same item. You can certainly mix and match. So they lose their money here. Black doesn't get anything because he did the minus 3, so he gets no items, but he does get 3 money, and he gets his minus 3 card back. So now in the production part of the turn, we produce our farms based on where this temple is. So black gets 2, 4, 6, 8 money, whereas white gets 2 and red gets 2, 4, 6. Welcome back. We're at our first scoring. It is after round 3, so let's start with pyramids, and we'll start with black. So black's got 1 point per pyramid, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. And then for each set, 3 points, which is going to be 1 set. Had black had 1 more pyramid here, that would have been 2 sets. But that's just going to be 3 points for that. White has 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 set worth 3. So next, the most pyramided province on the east and west of the Nile is going to score 5 points. So black definitely has it over here for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over here, it's actually a tie. So each player is going to get 5. So black gets 5 more, and white gets 5. Next, each temple scores based on where the Amun-Re figure is. So white has 1 temple here in Edfu, so that temple is worth 1 point. Also, red has 3 temples, 2 here and 1 here, so that's 1, 2, 3 points. Lastly, players can use some bonus cards. Again, you're limited to 1 of each type, so even if you have a bunch of the same one, you're limited. But white's going to use this one because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 power cards are needed, and white has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 power cards. So that's 3 points for white. Red over here has 9 farmers, so that's going to be worth 3 points to red. At this point, we don't score money. We only score money at the end of the game, in which the player with the most gets 6, second will get 4, and third will get 2 points respectively. So at this point, all the farmers and tokens are removed from the board. The province deck is reshuffled with only the cards that we've already used. But an important thing to make sure is the pyramids and the building stones, if any, stay on the board for the next round. I really enjoy Amun-Re. I love the design of the auctions where you're essentially just jumping to another card or waiting until somebody outbids you. It makes them go very quick, and it makes them very interesting. There's some tension, if somebody is going to place above you or not. It certainly helps to have, some understanding of the value of different tiles, and because when you have to bid over somebody, it can be quite a big jump, especially at those higher values. This one is a little bit harder to find nowadays because it's a bit older, but it plays very, very well with the full complement of 5. It's really geared toward a more of a 4 or 5 player gaming group. But if this is one, if you have access to, I definitely recommend checking out. And it probably has the best ever written session report on Board Game Geek. That's Amun-Re. Thanks for watching.